It's nice to see you all. Some of you anyway. Hi, Sunny. Sunny's in her library. And Laurie and Coco and Wilma. Who else do I see? Hey, Coco. I see not moving faces. I see static faces, but nice to see everybody. Hey, it's 1 o'clock. It's Wednesday and 1 o'clock. Welcome to Campus Zoom. It's June 16, halfway through June already. Don't blink. Hi, Laurie. We have an agenda, and I looked recently and didn't see too many new questions. So we will get started. We have actually some very important information that we will take care of first to make sure that we have all the time we need to talk about it. This is summertime, and those folks who are account managers sometimes do take vacation, even though maybe there's not too many places to go these days, but people do take vacation. And in the past, when a signatory took vacation, she or he wrote a memo that said, I'm going to be gone. This person is signing on my behalf, and we were done with it. Well, now we don't have too many things to sign on paper. It's all going electronically. So it's really important to find out, what do we do to make sure that our documents that come to us while we're on vacation actually do get signed, so that we don't slow down the processing of transactions, either personnel transactions or fiscal transactions. We need to be sure that those continue, even though we may be hiding from email. So I asked HR to help us with that. And today, Darsh and Linda, I'm not sure which one of you, oh, Darsh. Darsh is gonna walk us through. They've done a checklist for us. And I think they'll also talk a little bit about how we might learn more in a HR quarterly training. But first, Darsh.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to put the link in the chat, and we're going to call it OOO checklist, out of office checklist. And while I share my screen, I'll walk you through different things that you'll have to consider when a supervisor is out of office for a short duration. So as you see in the checklist, do you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so like Louise mentioned, the first step is normally drafting a memo and sending it to the supervisor, to ELT, HR, and business office. So we are aware that a particular manager is going on leave. And following up, we used to contact the supervisor to indicate that there are a few things that you can consider while you're out of campus so that the processes can be done on time. So that's why we have put together the checklist that would help you follow different steps. It's like a cheat sheet that would help you with different steps that you can quickly take while you are on vacation. Maybe you can complete that while you're waiting at the airport and going towards your vacation. But the first thing that I'll talk about is the online leave system and TAPS. For those of you who don't know what TAPS is, TAPS stands for timesheet and payment system. It's usually used for casual hire who have to put in their time, hours worked in the system. So online leave system and TAPS are the two things that I'll talk about first. So if you're going on vacation or if you're going out of campus and you won't be able to approve the leave request and the timesheet for your direct reports, you'll have to go to Profiler. So that would be your first step. Let me zoom in. So you'll go to Profiler, you'll enter your login information, you'll go to main menu where it would ask for your position profile. Do not go to your user profile because that is you yourself putting in leave request versus you're going on your position side of it. Because your position manages different direct reports in the org chart. So that's how the system understands that you as a position are reassigning or delegating signing authority to someone. Then you'll click on My Backup Approvers. And in that section, you'll be asked, what system do you want to assign backup approvers? So in this case, you'll select leave and timesheet and payment app, that is TAPS. And then you'll add your backup approver. You just have to enter their name and the dates that you're going to be out. It's a very simple process. If you have done it before, you would know. If not, these steps would help you assign someone, delegate someone. And then when you put the effective date span or the period, it automatically reassigns it back to you once you are back on campus. Or if you want to extend it, you can redo these steps and then update the dates. And at the end, you will click on update button and it would assign that person. That person would be notified that you have been assigned as a signing authority or as a backup approver for leave system and TAPS. And I've also linked the detailed information. It's the entire user guide for online leave system, but there's a portion that talks about backup approvers. So you should be able to see on page 4. So I have make a reference over here. Any question for online leave system and TAPS before I move to PeopleSoft? Nothing in the chat. Okay.
No.
All right. I'll move to PeopleSoft 9.2 and then we can come back if there are any further questions. PeopleSoft 9.2, it's a relatively new software for the field, as well as for supervisors and managers. So primarily, the Chancellor and the Fiscal Authority is the main users who would approve transaction in PeopleSoft 9.2. Along with those two personnel, there would be principal investigator if it's a grant funded position who would have regular updates for any kind of position request. Apart from that, supervisors, account supervisors, as well as direct reports supervisor will have to approve different transaction in PeopleSoft. So while you go on leave, and if there are any transaction coming, we would recommend you go through the PeopleSoft delegation steps. First, you'll go to ps.hawaii.edu. And there would be a navigator option on your right-hand side, right corner of the screen, and you will click on it and it would have an option to delegate approvals. It's right there in the main menu, so you don't have to hunt it down, but it would have an option to delegate approvers. It's very simple. You will click on delegate approvers, you'll put the username, you put the dates, and you'll click submit or save in this case. And also there is a detailed information right over here, which walks you through the steps in much detail if you have any questions or concerns while you are assigning a signing authority or to assigning it to somebody else. The only thing about PeopleSoft 9.2 delegation is that you have to push back the transaction if you're not able to approve. So let's say person A is out and person B is the signing authority. If person B is not able to approve those transactions, then person B will have to push it back so it can be rerouted for signature. That's the only thing. But if you don't do it on time, the transaction just stays there and you won't have access to those transactions to push it back. So right on the last day, if the person B is not able to approve those transactions, then we recommend pushing it back to person A so that those transactions can be rerouted for signature. That's the only thing. I think they're improving their system to include that feature, but as of now, that feature is not updated. Once it is there, we'll update the checklist and we'll notify the campus. But for now, this would be the process. Any question for PeopleSoft 9.2?
So just a question. If I'm the person that's been delegated signing authority, I'm trying to imagine the scenario where I can't approve something because I've been given the authority by whoever it is that's gone away. Why wouldn't I have the authority to approve if they gave me the authority to approve? Why wouldn't I?
So let's say somebody assigned you from June 1st to June 15th, and you have, I don't know, 120 transactions, and you're only able to complete 50 or 60 of them. The rest needs to be completed by June 15. If not, you have to push back those transactions so that it's rerouted for signature, because effective June 16, you would not have access to those transactions.
And they'll just be stuck.
They would be just stuck in the system, and nobody would be able to technically access those transactions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. No questions in the chat. Okay, next and the last software would be Quali Build. As you all know, that we have been using Quali Build for different forms. So Quali Build does not have a delegation feature as of now, but there's ways to assign someone, or to have somebody else assign in place of that person who is in the workflow. So let's say if the form is not routed, then our suggestion is the form submitter needs to put the person in place of, so person B in place of person A while they are processing the form. And then in the comments box or the remarks box, they can say that, person B is assigned on behalf of person A because of the signing authority memo from so-and-so date to so-and-so date. If the form is routed for signature, that somebody in the workflow will have to push back that transaction to the form submitter, and that form needs to be corrected to the right person who needs to be delegated, and then has to be rerouted. So this is the only way to approve forms on Quali Build on time, if there is a signing authority who is assigned on place of somebody else. We don't have a feature right now, as we said, but as soon as they have launched that feature, we'll update the checklist, and you will be having, I don't know how it would work, but they are working on some sort of delegation feature for that. Any questions for Quali Build? There's a question in the chat. I'm also assigning timesheet for Roman when she's out on leave. Yes. So probably Roman would have assigned you as a backup approver. You can assign somebody as a backup approver for a maximum of 1 year at a time. So that is TAPS. And when you have assigned as a backup approver, somebody would be able to access that. I believe in Roman's case, it would be Siki. Siki would have a backup supervisor who would be able to approve transaction. And I believe Angela would be the one for Roman. So she was able to access that. But unfortunately, if a supervisor is not able to assign in TAPS, and you need somebody's timesheet to be approved, there are different ways, but it's a longer route, but you can email us at CapCCHR, and we'll be able to reassign or delegate somebody temporarily. But as I said, it's a long way. It has to go through different people and with different access to make that kind of change. So we would recommend, if you're going on leave, please assign a backup approver, so that casual hires needs to be paid on time and their timesheet needs to be approved on time. So that would be time sensitive. Leave can be approved once you're back, unless you're out for a long period of time. PeopleSoft transaction are also time sensitive, so you might need to consider that, as well as Quali Build.
Thank you. One thing I would remind people that when we assign someone else as our delegated authority, we always should check to make sure that they would accept that delegation. And I ask because sometimes there might already be plans for person B to be gone during the same time, and person A won't know that. So if person A can always check with person B whether they will be willing to be the signatory. Okay, that was just my one comment. Any questions from anyone?
And I'll send out this checklist and the link to CAC listserv. So if we can forward to your direct reports, I would appreciate. And then also, we'll be discussing this in detail in our HR quarterly meeting. So if somebody missed this meeting today or have more questions, we'll be covering in HR quarterly meeting that's happening July 9th, next month. So if you're not signed up or registered for that, I would ask you to please do so because we have few updates that we would like to give it to the campus.
Thank you, Darsh. Checklists really work for me. Thank you. Last chance for questions for Darsh. If I wanted to attend a quarterly meeting, how do I know where it is? You send out notices, yeah?
Yes, we send out to CSC as well as news and events. We'll be posting it. So I'll resend it. So if you haven't registered, you can do so.
Thank you. Are we good, everybody? Okay, thank you very much. There's not much on the agenda other than that. There is a note about convocation. So mark your calendars. Convocation will be in August. It's the Wednesday of duty week. And in fall of 2021, that is Wednesday, August 18. We will be doing it via Zoom again. Maybe it'll be the last one via Zoom, but it will be via Zoom. But do mark your calendars for Wednesday morning, August 18 for fall convocation. Last week, I let you know that the system is working on updating the return to work guidelines. And I can tell you this week that the system is working on the return to work guidelines still yet. I have not been made aware of any publication date. I've not been made aware of any process whereby we would be informed of anything until that announcement comes from the system. But in the meantime, as I said to you last week, please do review the plans that each of the offices and units made last fall, over last summer, I think it was, return to work, because we all thought we were coming back to where we were supposed to be in fall of 20. That didn't happen, but we all had plans how we were going to accommodate things. So in the meantime, please review your plans, update them if they need. If you guys feel you need to have additional accommodations, now is the time to look and request those accommodations. Questions? What do I need to make more clear, more explanatory details? What do you need? Anything? All good? That's great. Then let me throw in another reminder. Those of you who are managing budgets, you know they are due. Your FY22 budgets, just letting you know, those of you who are managing accounts. They are due 25th, did we say? No, each of the program administrators has an internal deadline. So be mindful of what your dean or vice chancellor or chancellor has asked of you. Thank you very much. Questions?
I have a question.
Yes, Candy.
Since this is my first time, I just wonder how do you like that delivered to you?
With a box of chocolates.
But
No.
seriously, do I drop file it to you? Is that fine?
You make sure that your dean has seen it, and
Okay.
then you can send it to Cheryl and Brian and me.
In a
Email
drop file.
It's okay. No need for drop. There's not usually. Is it better?
I think we need to know because we added names and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Candy,
Okay.
why don't you speak with your respective dean of in this case and just find out how best you guys as a group or individually will be submitting.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, it's my first one, so I'm a little.
No, not at all.
It's very clear. It's very clear. Even I don't know the system, so it's good to ask.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Other questions about anything that's been said thus far? No chocolates. No, you can always do chocolates. Those are never refused. Soft centers as opposed to hard if you're going to actually going to do chocolates, just saying. Okay. Noelle, did you want to say anything about enrollment? What does it look like for fall?
For fall, it's our enrollment is at 3,500 right now, 500 behind Leeward. Although we are still yet to do a lot of our freshmen, first-time freshmen, that I'll be doing with the FYE program. But the one big thing to point out is the continuing students. So students who are registered with us in the spring, at this time, we're up 3.4% at 2,400.
Yay,
So-
that's a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, overall, across together as a system, together as one, our enrollment looks pretty good at this time. I know there's a lot of worry with high school students not making decisions, but for where we're at right now, I would say we're in a good place. We'll see what it's like again in the next month or so as enrollment typically increases.
And those of you who are interested in looking at that kind of data on a regular basis, this is, wait, where is it?
There you go.
Oh, thanks. I was just getting there. Thanks, Noelle. You're quicker than me. Okay. That website can get you all kinds of different data if you just go poking around. And if you sign in with your hawaii.edu email address, you get access to more reports since you're an insider. Right. Anything from Curious? There's a question from Guy about adding in-person sections. Guy, you want to ask a question?
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's just, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
I'm just curious if any arts and science disciplines, I know the schedule was done way back when, and the schedule is set and it's primarily online for the fall. So I was wondering if any arts and sciences disciplines or departments were thinking about additionally adding any in-person sections. It's just a question that I'm curious about because I want to get a sense of what the campus will look and feel like in fall 2021. I'll assume the answer is no if there's silence.
I can take a shot at that.
Mhm.
Oh, thanks, Nava.
Yeah, Guy, I think if once we get the next kind of memo from the president to see what we're gonna do in fall, I think if all classes, like I was just looking at anthropology, just an example, those courses are almost all full for fall. I think possibly if we could go face-to-face, if there was a memo saying we could, of course, approval from my supervisors, I would want to try and offer a face-to-face just in case. I'm trying to look at other campuses to see how their face-to-face courses are filling. I would want to at least try to see if we could fill courses in that manner as well.
Thanks for taking the question.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks for asking the question.
yeah.
Other questions from any of you guys?
I'm sorry, I'm just confused. So are you saying we can add a face-to-face section if it's needed? Because I was under the impression that if we already put in that everything is online, we can't change a designation of a course once it's been advertised in banner. So I'm confused.
If there's an opportunity to add a new section, that's the difference, not taking an existing section and changing its modality. That would be crazy. But if you have full sections and there seems to be wait lists all over the place, and you might want to try, but until anything changes, we're still operating with 6-foot distancing and masks in a classroom. So until that changes, you still need to make sure that if you're going to go face-to-face, you can accommodate that.
Okay, I think it will look different in August, and
I hope so.
probably, so 6 feet, maybe 3 feet, maybe mask, maybe no mask if you're all vaccinated. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just advocating for my courses because we need to get back face to face. We need to bring them in for testing. We have issues already. And so, the question is timely. Some people really want to get back face to face. I think that's what some students want. And I think we should be able to offer that. And that's like the hook that we're going to draw them in and bring them to campus and see what it's
Right.
all about.
So there's a lot of conditionals, right, to do before we do that. Again, there's a vaccination mandate or there isn't. There's a 6-foot distance or there isn't. There's a mask or there isn't. So all of those things, when there's no definitive answer, it's very hard to plan still yet. If we can make adjustments when the decisions are made, then we can make adjustments when the decisions are made. But again, it will be within whatever is the context of the pandemic, whatever that is, when we get to that point. But we also understand that if we impose a new mandate like vaccination, there's a whole lot of stuff that's got to get worked out before that. Because what if I'm a student and I'm already enrolled in a face-to-face or hybrid class, but I'm not vaccinated? I got to change all my enrollment because I won't be allowed on the campus. So there's a whole lot of stuff that would need to happen when those decisions get made. So we are all waiting for definitive statements about things. But until then, we are operating under whatever the conditions are right now. Doesn't help you, I know, Lisa, sorry.
No, we've been bringing students in face to face for last summer, fall, spring. They wear the PPE, they get screened, they fill out the LumiSite app. They're not within 3 or 6. They're working together. They are fully vaccinated now. Almost 100% of my faculty and staff and students. I just know that the state is moving, right? We're almost to tier 4, and then after tier 4, there's no restrictions anywhere. I mean, you have elementary students going back to school and in classrooms without vaccinations and all that. I'm just I'm hopeful for the future, and we've already been doing it in nursing. I think we can set the example and the bar and the standard that it can be done safely. We've done it and it's working. So that's really the message that I want to send.
Thank you. We're hopeful that that's the message we can all live by. Does President Lassner know that we and others may be waiting for a mandate? I'm pretty sure the president is aware of what people are waiting for. There is a tier 5. 70% of the, yes, you see, the thing is very interesting because, as Stan points out, the governor is also using a measure of fully vaccinated people, and his metric is 70%. If we have 70% of the population fully vaccinated, however that's defined, then we're all okay. All constraints are gone. All proclamations over. The interesting thing is, if you look at different websites, you get different numbers for what is the current percentage of vaccinated people in Hawaii. So the question has to be, whose measurement is going to win? The governor says it's the state measure, not the federal, not the CDC, it's the state. And that's the interesting thing too, is who is included in the denominator. Right now, it says 70% of the population, and the population includes people who are not eligible to be vaccinated. Now, does that make sense? Why would you, anyway? So yeah. Thanks, Dave. There's the data dashboard, very, very exhaustive dashboard too. Other thoughts, other comments? I hope you guys are taking some time off if you can this summer. Yes. Out in the water. Except for Lisa Aganon, she can't do anything other than work this semester, this summer. Yeah, Lisa. The lieutenant governor said that the standard was set by the health people. Yes, of course. Said today. Yeah. There's a lot of people who need to be consulted on all of these things. Exactly right. Okay, well, it's 1:30 and I'm sensing that we have exhausted our announcements and we may have exhausted our questions. So if you have a question, now would be the time, or a comment. We don't have Dave Evans, so Lisa's already had her question. And she's good. All right. Anyone else want to ask? Going once? Twice, 3 times. Okay. Then I'll see you guys Wednesday next week. Remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do the things that bring you joy. Very important. Very important. These are stressful times. You need to find self-help. And thanks to all of you for doing all that you do every day for your college, for your students, and for your colleagues. I'll see you guys next week. Wednesday, you can unmute and say goodbye. Bye.
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 Happy
Goodbye.
Father's Day, everybody.
See you next
All
week.
the dads. Happy Father's
Oh,
Day.
yeah, that's right. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers.
Yeah, bye.